big.
Very good. Good evening. Welcome to our August 10th, 2020 Weddington Town Council meeting. Yet again, we are holding a virtual meeting. So for those of you that are watching, welcome. I would like to ask Pastor Chris Edwards from Graceway Baptist Church, who graciously has taken time to join us via Zoom. So he will open us in prayer.
Thank you. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the great privilege that we have to call this area our home. I thank you for each of these individuals who cares enough to serve in this capacity for those, Lord, that live in this community. We ask for wisdom for this meeting. We desire to have your favor and we want your blessing. I pray that you would direct it. We thank you for all of this. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor Edwards. We appreciate that. Okay, if we could have a flag on screen for our pledge. Okay. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I will go through and do a roll call to determine quorum. Councilman Perryman.
Here.
All right. Probst.
Here.
Pruitt.
Here.
I do not believe Councilman Smith is here. Councilman Smith, are you here this evening? Okay. So we do have a quorum. However, Councilman Smith is not present. Okay, I will go on to our the adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, I will look for a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Mayor,
Okay, hang on just a second. Lisa?
staff is asking to table item 9A.
On the consent agenda, okay. Do you want to go through just a brief explanation at the consent agenda?
Sure.
Or just, okay, so we'll go through that then. So, so staff
actually, Mayor, it's best if she does it now because the consent agenda, there's generally no discussion. That's why it's the consent. So she could.
Okay. Lisa, can you just give a quick update on why you're taking that off, please, for the record?
Yeah, there's 2 roads in Bromley subdivision that DOT will not maintain because there is a bridge connection, a wooden bridge that they will not maintain. So staff wants to review the plans and final plat to make sure the property owners are aware that those 2 roads are going to be maintained by them.
Okay.
And just do a little research on that.
Okay. All right. So we have the agenda item 9A taken off, tabled. So if there are no other changes to the agenda, I will look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor? Pruitt.
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Motion passed. We will now move on to a presentation by Bjorn Hansen. Is Bjorn on?
I'm here, Mayor.
Oh, good evening, Bjorn. We're glad you're here. So Bjorn is going to be given an update on the Union County land use plan update and summit that they have been working so hard on for the last year. So I will turn the floor over to you, Bjorn, for your update.
Sure. Lisa, can you give me sharing privileges? And Mayor, you tell me how long you want this to take, because you saw the full presentation last week and you know it's more than a few minutes. So tell me how much time and I'll dial it down.
You know, I think that the key is let's get the key points in, maybe on the 3 scenarios, you know, and how you all got to that point. You know, you take whatever time you think's relevant. There was a lot of good information in it, but you know, go through the slides that are going to be relevant and that the residents are going to really want to see with regard to the changes, transition zones, you know, and kind of the general.
Sure.
You should have privilege, Bjorn.
Okay, let's see. What do I hit?
Is there a share screen button?
Down at the bottom, a little green share screen.
I'm not seeing it.
I was able to pull it up. I can share mine if you'll just tell me next.
Yeah, I think that'll work fine. Why don't you go off of your slideshow? Oh, I found it. You can do it though. You're fine. All right. So I'm Bjorn Hansen. I'm a planner with Union County, leading the Union County 2050 comprehensive plan update. When I say comprehensive, that's important because it's not just the land use plan. It's also making recommendations on a variety of things that affect more than just land use, which is important to the municipalities because we obviously do not control land use planning within the municipalities. Next slide. So I'm going to hit on our process, the vision we have for the overall plan, a few slides of relevant background research that these citizen-led committees have heard that has informed them on issues in the county and potential ways of addressing those issues. The 3 scenarios that went out for public comment in late June through late July, the comments we heard and what's going to happen next. Next slide. So this process started actually in late 2019 when these committees were appointed by the county commission, and they kicked off their work in January. We're currently in August. We have received quite a bit of feedback. We're chewing on that feedback, and by next month, we're going to make a decision on a scenario. The committees will evaluate it, and the coordinating committee, which is led by Archie Morgan, who is the president of Wixie Radio in Monroe, will choose it at their regular monthly meeting at the end of September. And then the last few months of the year, we will develop an overall plan report that includes all the strategies and the background information and vision and scenario that were chosen as part of this process. And that will again go out to the public at the end of 2020. We'll get comments on that. And by the beginning of 2021, our intention is to present a completed report to the Union County Planning Board and to the county commissioners for adoption. And that'll take as long as it takes. But our intention is our work will be done within the next 5 months or so. Next slide. This is our first comprehensive plan. We were actually looking through old plans and we found the first one for Union County. So this one's from 1967. You see it made a lot of recommendations, higher density, lower density, areas that shouldn't develop, employment corridors along US 74 and NC 75, and that's actually still old and true in our current comprehensive plan. So we tried to remind the attendees last week that, you know, this isn't the first time we've done this. Next slide. And this slide's really important to include because some of the recommendations in here were the reason why the town of Fairview incorporated this land use plan is from the 1990s. You can see the northern part of the county. It anticipated 485 being built and the fact that that land would be a lot more attractive to development. So we made higher density land use recommendations that were not favored by the residents up there, so they incorporated. And this So this plan's from about 25 years ago. Who's developing the plan? Citizens-led. We have over 6 Union County Commission appointed residents who are leading the development of this. We have a citizens committee, agricultural, environmental, developer and business, infrastructure, and then Lisa serves as liaison for the municipal and county planning staff, where monthly we give them updates. So all of you are updated on a monthly basis on where we stand. And then they each have a representative, the citizen-led committees, with this coordination committee, and they meet monthly, and they're the ones who really make the decisions that go before the county commission. And all of these meetings are open to the public, and we have been holding them even with COVID. We had a lot of remote meetings, and we transitioned back to a hybrid over the last couple months. Next slide. So this vision statement was adopted in May. I'm going to read it out loud because it's really important. We really think we're implementing it with these visions, with these scenarios that we put forth. It's a place defined by connections where local governments work together on targeted issues. There are clearly communicated plans for growth and infrastructure improvements, and the resources are committed to their implementation. Union County is a growing community where there's increased capacity to address education, transportation, water, public safety, and other multi-jurisdictional issues. Higher density residential, retail, and employment in designated areas. Convenient access between retail, residential, and employment, and that doesn't mean just roads. It could mean sidewalks or trails, or even transit. Complementary development patterns along corridors. When I think of Newtown or NC 84 or NC 75, you go back and forth between multiple municipalities and then the county, and it can look kind of scattered in terms of appearance. Preserve rural character outside of water and sewer coverage areas. We recognize that water and sewer are a big influence on where development occurs and the type of development patterns you get. So where they go is hopefully intentional in the future. Recognition and support of agriculture is a key industry. Even with all this development, nearly 250,000 people living here, we're still one of the top 3 or 4 counties in the entire state when it comes to agriculture, and it's a big industry. And enhance community connections for arts, agritourism, and parks and recreation. This is a recognition, and this was pre-COVID regarding that parks and recreation. That desire is only intensified in the last few months. But our demographic research has shown that this county is really split into 2 or even 3 different communities. You have newcomers who just sleep here and send their kids to school here, and they do all their other business in Charlotte. And then you have the people who live and work in the metro area. And then you have the rural agricultural areas to the east and south that are really off on their own as well. Next slide. So again, committee research, this has been a citizen committee-led process in terms of identifying what they want to learn more about. So we've heard presentations from all kinds of private and public experts on these various topics. Next slide. Growth, this is the last few years worth of new residential units. You can see this is very concentrated. Even with thousands of dwelling units in Union County over this period, there are large areas that are really not touched by development pressure. Next slide. And this is a map that really shows how there are large portions of the county that have deep roots in that area, people who lived in the same house for a couple generations. And then you have other areas in the western part of the county where just a few % of the people have lived in that same home for a couple generations. And that plays a role in your awareness of history of issues in the area and also cohesiveness to cooperatively address issues. Next slide. And this slide reflects the different commuting patterns. Areas to the west, that's roughly Roxy River Road and NC 75 as your cutoff. To the west, it's overwhelmingly to Mecklenburg. And then you can see the green areas, 2/3 to 5/6 of the people live and work in the county. So those people, those 2 populations aren't getting together for lunch. And then you look at the bullet points, we have more people working in uptown Charlotte than we do in the county seat in Monroe. And as many people in Western Union County just go across the county line to Ballantyne as go to Monroe. So that's a big deal. Next slide. And this map, we thought this was pretty cool. We, in the 1960s research, just showing that even 60 years ago, this dynamic existed. You know, Western Union County commuted to Mecklenburg 60 years ago. Next slide. Working from home rates, and these were pre-COVID. This data is from like 5 years ago. I have to imagine across the board it's 2 or 3 times higher now.
Right.
And this includes a lot of weddings. Next slide. Where the students are located impacts where the money is spent for schools in particular. Sandy Ridge and Vance, huge number of students. Monroe's right behind them. Population, again, Vance, Sandy Ridge, and Monroe are 3/4 of the county's population. They all have roughly about the same number of people. Next slide. And this one, when I put this slide together, I was kind of nervous. And we even briefed county management. We said, do you want this slide to see the light of day? And they said, yes, it's important. This slide represents real property value in terms of property taxes paid within Union County. You can see that Sandy Ridge is paying a dramatic share of the overall county tax revenue. And this is important because we need to be able to address the age-old criticism of growth in Union County that the West is being subsidized by people in the rural areas, and that is definitively not shown by this slide. Yes, there are more students in this area. Yes, there are more people in this area, but this area is also paying a pretty large tax bill, both because there's a lot of homes here and because the average value is pretty high. So this is an important slide. Next slide. So demographic projections. I'm going to run through this really fast because honestly, you'll just be sucked into the slides and we won't use our time wisely. Bottom line, this plan does not have different growth assumptions by scenario. We take the same question across all 3 scenarios, which is we have 141,000 people and 83,000 jobs coming to this county by 2050. Where are the right places to put them and in what development patterns? And so we have growth projections. Mayor, you serve on the CARTCO board. These inputs play a big role in the development of future long-range plans, as well as doing the analysis of widenings for future projects like Providence Road, the railroad extension. These projects will take the demographic projections here and then project the traffic volumes based on the number of people and households and jobs. So these projections are very important, and they may not be right, but it doesn't help to have 2 sets of projections. You just have one set and everyone should operate off of the same ones. So that's what we're doing. We're taking the transportation planning realms data and we're using it for our own purposes. So Lisa, you can scroll through all of these. Should be about 7 or 8 in a row. Yeah, keep going. Okay, now this is important. This is from True Homes, a large residential developer based in Union County. They gave a presentation to our business and development subcommittee, which includes a lot of realtors, developers, as well as president of the Chamber of Commerce and some small business owners, talking about the breakdown of lot types, both in terms of availability and how much they're building right now. And they look, you know, a couple years out in terms of forecasting how much they'll need and how to get them entitled through the development process, which is through the county, through the town, or other towns. And at the lower end, which they consider to be 300,000 and less, which blows my mind, they can't get the units, and that's a combination of stuff's just more expensive nowadays, as well as getting the density to support those land prices is difficult nowadays. And so you're going to run out of affordable or entry-level housing in Union County if that trend continues. And then you look further to the right, you can see that it gets a little better. The sweet spot, 300 to 349. And then as you move further to the right, and you see that statistic, they're really hurting when you're at 85% of sales compared to the amount of lots that are available. And then you move up to the more expensive homes, and there's generally more supply available, both because they can support the larger lot sizes the larger lot costs, as well as there just aren't as many of those homes being built. Next slide. And they also talked about the ineffectiveness of 1 acre lots as a development pattern, from a variety of perspectives. And in fact, we have different professionals who presented on this as well, who said the same thing. From their perspective, it costs a lot of money, uses up a lot of land, the market isn't there for it anymore, and therefore they would much rather see cluster developments allowed. They aren't proposing an increase of density. You can see the second bullet point says density neutral, but it allows them to spend less on infrastructure, less disturbed area, and can allow more contiguous natural areas, which helps the environment, helps wildlife, can help for larger greenways or other types of connections. So I know that Weddington, this has been big in Weddington over the years. Union County has been kind of back and forth on supporting this development type. Next slide. Commercial development, that's something from a county perspective we're hot on, because we recognize that our tax base is not where it should be. There's too much residential as a percent of the total tax base, and because the county has to pay for all these services, including schools, that we're looking at how to broaden it, which means that they're typically a lot more open to commercial development. And from not one but two commercial developers who came in and said that nearly the same thing. So our lack of liquor sales and liquor by the drink is hurting our full service restaurant development. Our development regulations, not just the county, but just in general, the fact that we have so many municipalities, and it's kind of unpredictable in their perspective, it hampers development. Not having the interstate takes us off consideration from national level research. I will say that Carpo Mayor is going to be considering adopting a vision for the US 74 corridor that adopts a vision of it as a freeway in the future, which sets us up to have future interstate designation for US 74 and the Monroe Expressway going east through Wadesboro all the way to Wilmington. So that is, we asked them, is there a downside to this? They're like, no, it's literally free money by getting interstate designation for the Monroe Expressway and US 74 east of Monroe, because it puts you on the radar for national level researchers who are doing site selection, who say, you're not on an interstate, you're in nowhere still, and we're not going to consider you.
Right.
Apartments are needed to support retail, service, and office uses. They are complementary. And a lack of daytime population in commercial nodes. If you may have the rooftops, but during the day, if there isn't the counter-cyclical shopping patterns by people who are at the office and go out and run errands or eat lunch during the workday, the commercial development will lag compared to where it could be. Waverly is a perfect example. Valentine's a perfect example. They've got the daytime population, they have the nighttime rooftops, and it balances out. Our urban forester, he said it diplomatically, but I sense frustration over, we do continuous 1 acre lot developments, and, we have these trees saved, but the trees are saved too close to the disturbed areas, and the trees are damaged, the roots are damaged, and they die. Or the property owners cut down the trees and they go away, or they clear out towards the creeks, and now the creeks don't have the same type of flood protection. And you end up losing a lot of the tree cover that you hope to have by those relatively low density 1 acre lots. He would much rather have clustering where the easements of the land was either given to something like the Catawba Lands Conservancy or Union County or some other steward of that natural area, and that those natural areas were joined together property by property, development by development, to allow for more contiguous natural areas, both for stormwater protection, for wildlife habitat, as well as for, again, more recreational opportunities. Next slide. Stormwater and environmental health. Same thing with stormwater. Our development regulations aren't there. They should be higher. We've currently designed to the 2 and 25-year storms, which means a lot of our developments don't have detention basins installed, don't have large enough pipes compared to the storms we're getting now. Our storms the environment is changing, the storms are getting more intense. So at a minimum, we should be looking at 50-year storms, and then for the design. And then also development in flood-prone areas. Generally speaking, Union County is doing pretty well. We look at the floodplains, and then we look at where the damage is from floods, and it's really in areas that were developed maybe 30 years ago before the current floodplain standards were in effect. Environmental health, this is drinking water. It's a big issue in Union County. E. coli and coliform, 1/3 of the wells tested, and then arsenic and manganese, roughly 1 out of 6. These are dangerous chemicals, cause real health issues, and it's a focus area for the county. And it's not just limited to the more rural areas. Mayor and Lisa, you guys have received calls recently about E. coli concerns with wells, and there's different ways you can deal with it. You could run water lines to take the people off of their wells, or potentially you could look at having a grant program to help pay for remediation of people's wells to bring them back into compliance. Next slide. So with all that research, and this wasn't all of it, this was just a subset of all the information the committees have heard, we developed 3 scenarios that were different ways of implementing the vision statement. They were essentially low, medium, and medium plus in terms of how much government you want, because it's all relative in terms of low, medium, and high. And we developed strategies, initiatives to look at in April and May. May and June, we put them together into specific scenarios. June and July, we received public feedback, and now we're evaluating the feedback. And by next month, we're going to choose, and when I say we, the committee will choose a scenario. It could be strictly one of these. It could be a hybrid. We recognize that due to COVID, we were not getting to get a lot of in-person outreach. You can go back to the previous slide, Lisa. Yeah, so we did have 3 in-person meetings. They were in Mineral Springs at the Ag Center near Wingate, and then in Indian Trail at the Town Hall. And we did have some people attend, but not many. We had a lot more participate online, and about 95% of all the surveys we received were online. Next slide. So the first scenario is called the existing land use plan. It's essentially the status quo. It's essentially exactly what we're doing right now. It's the current Union County land use plan, which means that all those donut areas, the county will continue to receive and process rezoning. Sometimes they get approved, sometimes they get denied. There's relatively little money put towards transportation. There's some money put towards unsafe wells through the Shortline Water Extension. Our stormwater program stays relatively light from a regulatory perspective. And we advocate for a lot of things, but we don't necessarily put money behind a lot of things. Next slide. And this is what it looks like. This is our current land use plan. You can see those yellow and orange areas. Where there's utilities, that's where your subdivisions go, either single family, or when you're in your orange, that's where you could see apartments and townhomes. Those are large areas. Those are, dozens, not dozens, but tens of square miles of area. And it's on the edges of municipalities, and it's caused a lot of heartburn in the county over the last several years as more and more rezonings have been proposed. Next slide. So the next scenario on this continuum is called the management scenario. The right way to look at it is that it's managing growth. There are no new programs in terms of the county raises taxes and does more stuff. What it does is it increases the regulatory environment to minimize the impact of new development. It doesn't retroactively fix existing issues, but it makes existing development occur in a more efficient manner. So you would have those denser areas pulled back. You would continue to do the $100,000 a year for transportation. You'd have more strict stormwater programs, and all new homes that are built on a well would require an inspection with the results handed over to the buyer before that home is given a certificate of occupancy. Then the builder doesn't necessarily have to make sure the water is safe, but the buyer has to know the status of that water. And if they don't like that situation, it gives them the power to do something about it because the certificate of occupancy hasn't been issued yet. Next slide. So this is what it looks like. You can see that those orange and yellow areas are really pulled back. NC 75 is in particular a pretty strong firewall in terms of development patterns. Now, there is some water and sewer in these green areas, and we recognize that that is the opportunity for smaller lots. And so what this would allow is, if you're in those green areas, you have water and or sewer, you could do that clustering and get smaller lots, but your overall density would not increase. So it would allow savings to the developer and allow for less infrastructure in terms of feet or miles of pipe that have to be maintained by the county, but the density would increase. And then you see these light green areas, and those are called transition zones. Those are the areas that are next to Weddington or Wesley Chapel or Indian Trail up north of the expressway, yeah, where the cursor is. What those are is a recognition that those are going to be primarily residential, and they are adjacent to one or more municipalities, and the county, by policy, would not approve rezonings where the density would increase. If the people want to stay there and do their thing forever, we wouldn't do anything. But if they wanted to rezone, the county would have adopted a policy: we're not going to upzone, you go into the adjacent municipality and get annexed into them. And that would cover a lot of these areas. It's almost like an ETJ light. And there was some concerns expressed last week that, you know, it's only as strong as the will of those commissioners. And yeah, that's true. But this is what this would do. It would be for those areas that are going to be residential, and it would give a lot of control to the municipalities, because it would say you're not going to get the density you want unless you go into the municipality. Advancement scenario, that's your highest level in terms of how much government you want. That advances issues. It would be a good way to look at it. It has the exact same regulatory environment and the exact same land use plan as what I just described, but it adds new programs. And these programs would be for recreation, transportation, and the well rehabilitation program that would be funded through a 1/4-cent sales tax that would have to go to the voters for approval. That would raise somewhere between $5 and $6 million a year. And, you know, technically, strictly speaking, the county commissioners, the county could use it for whatever they wanted. But if they approved a resolution that said we're going to use it for these programs, then, you know, that's the extent of what they can do. And it would be used for those things. So it would allow for partnerships between the county, municipalities, and the DOT to advance transportation projects, to fund recreation projects, to fund that well remediation program and deal with that unsafe drinking water. And it would also enhance the regulatory environment for wells, so that existing homes would also have to have a well test with the results shared with the buyer. That would be something that may require legislative authority, but that's a strategy. And then lastly, you have agriculture as a critical industry in Union County. Broadband internet's a big issue for them. It's a high-tech industry, and it's difficult to get broadband internet in the rural areas. And so this scenario would involve committing county funds to assist with grants through the state or the U.S. Department of Agriculture to extend broadband internet to rural areas. In fact, the representative from Monroe at the summit last week said, hey, it's not just limited to the rural areas. There's urban areas that don't have great internet either. And you can see by what's happened over the last 5 or 6 months, if you don't have broadband internet, you can't participate in the modern world. So this is something that could be addressed under this scenario because there's resources committed to it. Next slide. And this is what it looks like, the exact same map. Next slide. So with all that outreach that we did, strong outreach by the municipalities, by the county, by the board, by these committee members, we presented to 6 municipalities as well as 1 HOA. Just sneeze. We had over 4,000 people go to this project website to look at the materials that we presented. Unfortunately, it's a bit daunting. There's a lot of material in there. It's not just a simple question or scenario survey of, you know, do you like blue cars or green cars? You had to read through a good amount of information. But of the people who completed this survey, they were very thoughtful, and their input was measured. It was reasonable, and we thought it really reflected, you know, the will of a lot of people who took the time to read through this. So by participation, the only 2 townships we don't think responded at the rate they should have were New Salem, because no one did, and Vance, because Vance has the same population as Sandy Ridge and Monroe. So therefore, they should have the same numbers. In terms of age of people or the number of years people have lived here, it was a good breakdown. You know, to have that many newcomers, relative newcomers, is good. So I'm pleased with that rate. I grit my teeth at this one because the under 30s, you think they're pretty technologically savvy, but they didn't show up. And so the results of this survey skew older. So with all that demographic information, the first question we asked at the beginning of the survey was just straight up, what's your most important issue? And people could type in whatever they wanted. Roads and congestion were #1 by a long shot. General concerns over growth pressures and development density were #2, and then a good bit behind them were safe drinking water, parks and recreation, and preserving rural character. And I consider the difference between 2 and 5 is that #2, go back to the previous one, no, it was about growth pressures, development density. It's not that they're anti-growth, they fear us turning into Charlotte. #5 is close the doors, we don't want anyone else here. We want it exactly like what it is, especially in the more rural areas. So with all that having been said, the public pretty strongly supported the advancement scenario. These are raw numbers, not percent. So, you know, about 95 people selected the advancement scenario, about almost 50 the management scenario, and about 30 the existing land use plan. The least preserved or least preferred was the existing land use plan. Advancement did have a fairly strong negative, and it was because, oh, you're raising taxes and adding regulations. And we understand that. Next slide. So who supported it? Sandy Ridge, which includes Weddington, pretty strong support. Monroe Township was also pretty strong. And actually, the residents 6 year older, often there's a stereotype that the older population is anti-tax. In this instance, they supported the advancement scenario. These italicized comments are illustrative of the types of comments we received. I think they recognize that, yeah, I don't like adding taxes or fees, but they address, if you want to address these issues, this is something we got to do. And I think that's what they each reflect. Who did not support it? I sliced and diced the results by age, by geographic area, by how long they've lived here. There really wasn't a trend. It was fairly even amongst those groups. And the comments against it are valid. There's too much growth in already congested areas. This includes burdensome regulations and requirements such as the wells. And, you know, if I wanted higher density, I would have moved to Charlotte. So yeah, all three of those positions are valid. So what happens next? We're reviewing the results. We had a big summit last week. We're reviewing this with our committee members, and in September, we will approve a scenario. It may be literally one of these, it may be some hybrid. In October, November, we're going to develop the plans document, and hopefully by Thanksgiving, we'll be reviewing that or releasing that to the public for comment. So that was a lot of words, a lot of information. The entire event, the summit last Thursday, is available on YouTube, on Union County's YouTube channel, where you can watch that and see this. It included all the comments from the municipalities. 12 of the 14 municipalities commented. All of them that had a position supported the advancement scenario, which was, I mean, it's not good or bad. It was just surprising that they were all the same. But we'll take that. We'll take the public comments, and we will hear from our committee members and deliberate over the next few weeks and come up with a scenario. And that will be the meat of the comprehensive plan at that point. And that's all I have, Mayor. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Very good. Thank you. I don't have any questions. I know Councilman Perryman and Probst were at the summit. It was interesting, and we certainly enjoyed it. Councilwoman, sorry, Pruitt, do you have any questions or comments, or you good?
No, I'm good right now. I appreciate it. Thank you for that presentation.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Bjorn, for taking the time to do that. It's a lot, and I encourage anybody that's watching to really take the time and go through those slides and read them. It was pretty interesting, and we enjoyed the summit. So thank you very much, Bjorn.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, we are moving on to our mayor, council member reports, and I'll just kind of piggyback on all of that and just reiterate that Jeff, Janice, and I did attend the Comprehensive Land Use Plan Summit last week, and it was very enlightening. We enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. The mayors were given the opportunity to provide feedback, and so I appreciate that opportunity. I would just like to take a second and thank the folks at the county level, the Board of County Commissioners, the volunteer committee members that are working so hard and taking their time to work on this project. So thank you for that. Perryman, do you have?
Well, I guess the first thing I'd say is that, yes, it was a very good meeting. I encourage anybody that's watching to go and watch that video and pay careful attention to the comments that were made by the speakers and especially by the county commissioners. I think that would be very educational. I also would say that we've had a lot of good movement. In fact, we've got some agenda item regarding our working group for the municipalities here in the western part of the county that we're putting together. And in that regard, I just want to mention that I did reach out to both Mike Head from Indian Trail and also to Mayor Pappas down in Waxhaw to invite them if they wanted to participate. It looks like Indian Trail would like to. I need to get back with them, but I have not heard anything back from Mayor Pappas. But we continue to move forward on that, and I'm very encouraged by what we're doing. So that's all I've got right now.
Awesome. Probst.
I think you've told us enough. Both of y'all talked about the retreat, and that was, or the land use update, and that was a good event. The only thing else I want to add is Saturday, September the 19th, we are going to go ahead and have our shredding event. It's going to be a drive up, and you drop off your shredding right at your car. And so it should be a very safe environment. It's going to be Saturday, the 19th of September, and it'll be noon until 3 at Town Hall. And it's sponsored by Truliant.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Pruitt, do you have any comments?
Yes, actually, I've been in talks with Jen over at Start to Finish, which is the company that we were working with on our 5K that was supposed to be scheduled for Thanksgiving this year. Just based on the current environment, we have decided to actually postpone our 5K, unfortunately, until Thanksgiving of 2021. And we were hoping that everything would be okay by now, but with the current restrictions, we feel that that would be the best for our first 5K. So I am sorry to say that we are going to be both postponing that.
Okay. Thank you. I was looking forward to that. So, but under the circumstances, I think we have a lot to make decisions on moving forward towards the end of the year with the holidays. So that's unfortunate, but it's how it is right now. So anyway, thank you for that. I will move on to Karen Dewey. Do you have any public comments that were submitted?
I received no public comments this month.
Very good. Public safety report. Deputy Hunt is online with us. So we are glad that you're here and glad you didn't get a call. So we will let you go over our report. And if you get a call and you disappear quick, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. Everything's going pretty good here in Weddington. I just want to encourage all the residents to make sure your cars are locked, doors are locked, and just make sure your shrubs around your houses are cut down, and just be vigilant. You know, today's society is just, crazy. So just encourage everybody to, be safe, be vigilant, and to just lock your cars and keep all your valuables out of your cars. And don't speed. Don't speed and obey the traffic laws.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Hunt. And we just want you to know, and I think I can speak on behalf of the council and all of our residents that we appreciate you and we appreciate everything our deputies do, as well as all of those with the Union County Sheriff's Office. So we appreciate you for sure.
Well, appreciate that. And on behalf of all the officers here in Union County, we appreciate that as well. And we live in a very wonderful county and have a wonderful sheriff as well.
We
Yes,
do.
we do. So
Very
thank
good.
you. Thank you very much for that. Okay, we will move on to our consent agenda. Item 9A has been tabled. And so Lisa, if you will just go over the rest for clarity, that would be great.
Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen real quick. All right. Item 9B is a resolution 2020-05 that requests DOT accept and maintain Graham Hall Court within the Graham Hall subdivision roads into the state system. Item C is a refund for a temporary use permit application for an event that was supposed to be held last week that was canceled due to COVID. Item D is an ordinance approving or authorizing the establishment of a special revenue fund. This is for the CARES Act grant that's being sent out by the county. We'll only establish this fund if needed. I think Leslie sent out an email a week ago about possibly not needing this. So this is kind of if necessary, we'll set up this fund. And then item E, we are tabling the public hearing for the conditional zoning amendment for Christ South Phase 1 building to September 14th.
Okay, very good. I'm not on mute, am I? No. Okay. All right. So if there are no questions from council, I will look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, Perryman made a motion, so Pruitt,
Aye.
Probst,
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Okay, very good. So we have a unanimous approval. Moving on to item 10, the approval of our minutes. We have several on here. We have July 13th, 2020. We have the July 21st. Those were the special town council meeting minutes. Sorry, special meeting minutes. And then we have July 28th, the town council special meeting minutes. Are there any changes to any of those meeting minutes? Okay. So hearing no changes, I will go through and we will have to approve them all individually. So I will look for a motion to approve the July 13th, 2020 minutes as presented.
So moved.
Okay. Pruitt,
Aye.
Probst,
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Okay, very good. We had unanimous approval of those minutes. Moving on to July 21st. I heard no changes, so I will look for a motion to approve those minutes as presented.
So moved.
All right, Probst,
Aye.
Perryman,
Aye.
Pruitt.
Aye.
Very good. And those minutes passed with unanimous vote. Moving on to July 28th, the special meeting minutes. I heard no changes, so I will look for a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Okay, so that was Probst, and I will look for Pruitt for a vote.
Aye.
Probst,
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Very good. Those minutes passed with unanimous. Moving on to old business. A consideration of a public nuisance text amendment. We did hear a public hearing. We did hold a public hearing last month. And so I suppose we're ready to consider this. Lisa, if you could just go over this for a quick review, please.
Thanks. Tonight is a text amendment to section 34-131. This is our property and nuisance abatement ordinance section. Over the last few months, we've received complaints about property owners clearing and leaving the debris on site. A lot of times they're kind of stacking it or blocking a stream or a natural drainage path. So the intent of this ordinance is not to prohibit a tree falling and allowing the natural kind of regeneration, but to prohibit a collection of trees and limbs and stumps that can become a nuisance. The other complaints involve adjacent downstream property owners blocking natural drainage paths. We have drafted 3 and 4 here in red to address both of those situations. After talking with the town attorney and our town engineer, we believe that number 4 could cause us to get into a lot of private property disputes. Someone putting in a pool that's maybe affecting the natural drainage pattern, that's a private property issue that it would just pull us into too many of those kind of disputes. So we are recommending to strike number 4 and only amend the text to add number 3. And I don't know if Karen, our town attorney, has anything to add. Otherwise, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, my only other comment is with regard to number 4, putting us in the arena of stormwater control, and we are, as a municipality, we are prohibited from having regulation that's excess to what the state already or what the state prescribes. So even though it's not directly called as you fall in within the stormwater ordinance, what we would effectively be doing is attempting to control the flow of stormwater on a lot smaller than an acre, which is not authorized by state law. So that's a second reason, in addition to the fact that these generally create private nuisances between neighbors and are not a public nuisance, that I would recommend we not add that to our ordinance.
Okay. All right.
Here's the text with item 3, and then 4 and 5 are renumbered.
Okay.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you for that, Lisa. Council, are there any questions, concerns, discussion regarding this text amendment?
No, I mean, I think it sounds fine regarding that drainage and stuff. I think a lot of that, if memory serves, is covered by the Corps of Engineers. I mean, if it's really an issue with drainage, I mean, I've got a classic example of that in my own neighborhood that we were dealing with. So I think striking that out is the right thing to do. So.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Nope.
Okay. Pruitt?
No.
Did you have something? Okay. All right. So I will look for a motion to approve text amendment. The text amendment to section 34-131, property and nuisance abatement.
So moved.
Okay. Looking for a vote from Pruitt.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Very good. That passes unanimous. All right, new business. 6-month retreat update. Lisa.
Thank you. We held our retreat February 7th. I've listed some of the action items that we went over at the retreat. I was hoping you all have a chance to review this and discuss changes, if there's any kind of work session meeting to cover any specific subject that you think should be moving faster or you want to change directions. So we have our ETJ and donut holes. Tonight we'll be discussing our municipal alliance. The Unified Development Ordinance is underway. Kevin will be speaking with the planning board this month, the end of the month at their meeting. We still need to get started with the stormwater tree ordinance. We have come up with a FAQ for our burning and yard waste. I sent that out in the Friday memo if you all could take some time to review that. We do plan on changing the planning board terms to end in March to do the interviews, to take them away from the election time and the holidays. So we will have to vote for that probably next month. We'll go ahead and extend those so we don't have to get applications ready. They usually expire in December. We've been talking about the downtown. There's a possible project that's kind of on hold until we hear a little bit more from that. And then the park, we have went into contract for a topographic survey. The next thing we need to do is get a grading plan. I believe our town engineer can help us with that. So we will have to have a meeting to make sure everything's cited properly so we don't have to redo that grading plan in the future. And everything else is kind of listed in here with some updates. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. I do want to just mention to council that I spoke with Lisa about it, and I would like to for council to consider maybe late September or early October, as Lisa said, kind of doing a half-day work session to follow up on some of these topics. I think to me, I think discussing the progress on the park is an item that I do hear a lot from residents, or I have in the past, as well as, and I do think the stormwater and tree ordinance is one that we really need to move up to the top of the priority list with our by right and R40 subdivisions. We've had the last couple of by right subdivisions. We've had some tremendous stormwater runoff issues, and I think holding that undisturbed land can really be beneficial. So I would like for you all to consider it. I think if we can hone in on a couple of topics that we really want to focus on, and really it's kind of more just to keep these on the front burner, and so if we do a work session of some type at town hall, half day, that's what I would like to see. So
Can we just go ahead and let Karen send out us a couple different does everybody like a
Sure.
Friday?
Yep.
I'm fine with that. If you all want to go ahead and start at least getting it planned, I'm fine with that for sure.
And what time frame are you talking about as I'm looking at my calendar?
It doesn't really matter. We're at the 6 month. I mean, I was just to give us a little bit of time, maybe let the kids get in virtual school or whatever that's going to be like. Yeah, late September, early October.
Okay.
Would be my suggestion.
I know I'm out of pocket the first weekend of October. Other than that, I'm good. So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
since Jeff does travel, why don't we let him give her a few Fridays that he's definitely here,
okay.
and we'll go from there, because hopefully we can all work out a Friday morning does that suit everybody?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm flexible. And do you have any? I mean,
That should work. So.
okay. So we'll work together and we'll get something planned, and just hone in on a couple of topics, just to keep these retreat items on the front burner and go ahead and try to move forward with some. That'd be great. All right. If no more questions, we'll move on to our annual land use plan review.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So every July and August, we go through our projects and determine its progress with achieving the goals of the land use plan. So I went through the projects we have approved over the last year, July 1 to June 30th. And there's not as many projects as last year, but we have some big items that we've worked on, including that erosion control ordinance, which was huge. And then we finalized the conservation subdivision update. One thing we noticed, we had 2 entry gate and monuments that get reviewed by the planning board, but there's no regulations around it. So the ordinance just says that the planning board shall review and approve gates and monument signs, but there's no regulations over, stacking, 3-car stacking, or having the lane wide enough kind of at the access point so you can get around if someone gets stuck. So we do want to get some regulations around that and then decide if that's an administrative review or not. And I'd be happy to add to any of these or answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
It looks actually like we've done a lot. Considering we're under COVID.
We got an awesome staff.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hearing no comments, I will move on to our, thanks for that, Lisa, to our the creation of the Western Union Municipal Alliance. And I'll be honest, I'm so excited at how quickly this has come together. Jeff Perriman has been working on the issue of extraterritorial jurisdiction, or ETJ, for the last several months. ETJ was brought to his attention last year with the opening of Union Day School, which is located on county property and not within the town of Weddington. We have had several rezonings the last couple of years on property that is directly adjacent to the town limits and that is much higher density than our R40 zoning, and has posed concerns by our residents. In mid-June, Mayor Pro Tem Amanda Fuller from Wesley Chapel sent an email to me and to Mayor Becker of Mineral Springs. They too have had these same high density rezoning requests on county property, and she wanted to discuss their concerns. The timing could not have been better, as Jeff was about to present some plans to our council in July. So I was able to quickly set up a meeting with the four of us and put our heads together and plan. And as that initial meeting progressed, we realized that there were other regional items that all Western Union County towns could work together on, like roads and infrastructure. And we decided that our neighbors may be interested. I subsequently reached out to Mayor Polina from Marvin and Mayor Pro Tem Linda Paxton from Stallings, and also called our town attorney. She quickly put together a resolution in this interlocal agreement, and she actually referred to the towns of Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson that have a North Meck Alliance. And they have been working together for quite some time on regional issues within northern Mecklenburg County. So we have worked quickly to agree on the details, and all 5 municipalities will be presenting for approval to their respective councils in their August meeting. As Jeff alluded to, Waxhaw and Indian Trail, we did reach out to them, and they have been invited, and our attorney has indicated that adding them, they're not on this initial interlocal agreement, but adding them is very easy. She had it set up where she has an amendment that we can amend and do that with no problem. So that's the benefit of having an awesome attorney. So amongst other things. So anyway, so it's been, it's very exciting. Also, just kind of a side note as well. Well, down at the summit last week, I was able to have a conversation with Union County Commissioner Richard Helms. And I did mention to him about the alliance, and he is more than willing to be a part, and really thought it was a great idea, and a great start in having an open dialogue between the towns and the county. So I just want to thank Lisa and Karen Walter for working very diligently and very quickly the last couple of weeks to get this together. And I will look for Lisa to add anything, or I will open the floor for discussion or comments. Lisa doesn't look like she's going to add anything. I can't, she's on mute, so that means no. All right, does anybody want to add?
I don't want to, I mean, and again, Mayor, thank you for everything that you just said, and I'll try not to cover the same ground again. I do want to add my personal thanks, especially to Lisa and Karen for the work that they've put in on this. I know synergy is sometimes an overused word, but I think in this case, it really applies, because I have heard nothing but compliments on the agreement that was written, the way it's being set up and proposed. And my hope, my real hope is that when we get this thing up and running, this is something that is going to outlive the group here. This is something this part of the county will be able to take forward and use, as you said earlier, for a lot of other issues we don't even know about right now. But to me, to get the towns communicating with each other in some sort of formal, on a schedule type fashion is going to do nothing but be beneficial for us and all the residents in this part of the county. And I'm very excited about it. And I do appreciate all the help that's come from staff and also the support that I've received from the other members of council as I've been trying to work on, on this project. I do appreciate it.
Very good. Does anybody else have any other comments that they want to make? If not, I will look for a motion to approve the resolution of intent to create the Western Union Municipal Alliance. And do I need two separate motions for the resolution and the interlocal agreement? Karen Dewey or Karen Walter?
Sorry, I had
I'll
my
defer.
scroll in the wrong place. Yes, you do need two. I'm sorry about that.
Two motions, that's fine. I just want to make sure. Okay, so the first one, I will look for a motion to approve the resolution of intent to create the Western Municipal Alliance.
So
So
moved.
moved. Let it be
Okay.
Jeff. Let it be Jeff.
That was Perryman with the motion, and I will look for a vote from Pruitt.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Awesome. Okay, now I will look for a second motion to adopt the Western Union Municipal Interlocal Agreement.
So moved.
So, let it
All right.
be Jeff.
That'll be Perryman. I look for a vote from Pruitt.
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Very good. All these P's. Yes.
I think it's a criteria that, yes, we do know.
It is. Okay, now, moving on to the appointment of the representatives. Article 5 of the interlocal agreement says that the alliance shall consist of 2 representatives from each town as comprised of 1 appointed delegate and 1 appointed alternate. So without council objection, I would like to appoint Jeff Perryman as the delegate and Ann Pruitt as the alternate. And if there is no discussion, I will look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right. And I will get a vote from Pruitt.
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Yay! Congratulations! We have a new Western Union. What, Lisa? What's the acronym? WUMA. 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 I keep saying MUMA. It's WUMA.
Wuma.
WUMA. WUMA. Very good. Yay! This is exciting. Okay.
We'll be getting pictures out soon.
Okay. Update from our planner. Lisa, any updates?
Few quick items. Beulah Church Road at Waxhaw Indian Trail Road will be closed August 21st through the 23rd to do a gas line repair. And
Beulah at Waxhaw Indian Trail.
Beulah Church at Waxhaw Indian Trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have Union County Public Works lined up to do a presentation next month at your council meeting to give an update on water and sewer.
Very good.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Code enforcement report. It is in your packet. Are there any questions from code enforcement? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Leslie.
All right. Hey,
You are on.
Yeah, you've got the first month. July was the first month of the fiscal year. You've got the financial statements in the packet. We are almost done closing out last year. Surprisingly enough, we have not seen the expected decrease in sales tax revenue. So with that in mind, we did reduce our budget for that decrease. So we are in good shape from last year. We had a lot more revenue, and we had some big ticket items that got pushed. Part of that was the park grading. Some of that was the financial software got split between 2 years. So from a last year standpoint, we are in good shape.
Great.
That's all I got.
Very good. Good news, good news. Okay, transportation update. I do not, I don't really have any transportation report. I don't know that the status of NCDOT and the financial crisis has changed much. But I don't, our next CRTPO meeting will be August 19th. I'm assuming it will be Zoom, and so I may have an update for September, but right now I do not. Ann, do you have anything to add or not?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Council comments. Pruitt, I'll let you go. No, first.
I want to thank Mayor Callis and Councilman Perryman for all their work that they have put in setting up the Western Union Municipal Interlocal Agreement, and I'm very excited, and I appreciate the opportunity to be involved with that. So thank you guys, and thank you for everything that the staff has done this month.
Okay. All right. Crooks.
Ditto, I'm excited about your LUMA. I do want to make sure, because I think it's a really critical time to thank our deputies and all the men in blue in Union County that are serving. We're very fortunate to live in a relatively safe community, but I do deeply appreciate all they do, and all of our public safety, all the things that they do. I do also want to thank our staff for all their continued work and support during this COVID time period, and thank any of the residents. I don't really know if anybody's on tonight, but thank all the residents that are participating in our meeting tonight. That's it.
Okay, Perryman.
I'll say ditto to everything that's been said so far, and I will add, for those that may be watching now or those that may decide to watch this a little bit later, this Western Union Municipal Alliance is going to really hinge on public support and public involvement. And I would ask not only my fellow council members and staff folks here to help get the word out, but the more people know, the more they will understand why it's important that we all get together and tell the county commissioners what we would like to do, and not necessarily what they think we should be doing. And again, I refer people to go back and look at the video from the meeting a couple of days ago if you're curious why I say that. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Very good. You guys don't leave a whole lot for me to say. I will piggyback just real quick on Jeff's comment, and may just mention to staff, it may be a nice idea to send something out to residents, letting them know that everybody won't watch, letting them know what this Western Union Municipal Alliance is, and that these are public meetings. They will be published as public meetings. Attendance is welcome by residents. So these meetings will be held no different than our council meetings. They'll just be a group of all the towns together. So we certainly want to make sure that our residents are aware of what this alliance is, and certainly welcome their attendance. So thank you for that. Thanks for everybody who's watching. We're glad you're watching. We hopefully someday soon we'll be back in town hall. It's mighty quiet here by myself. So thank you very much for everybody. Thank you, staff, for your hard work. Thank you to our attorney. And with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, Probst. You got it. Look for a vote from Pruitt.
Aye.
Perryman.
Aye.
Probst.
Aye.
Awesome. Very good. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.